beautiful Danielle is coming.
Wow, that was amazing and very moving. Thanks, Ruben and Shireen. Wow, you guys are awesome. So, when I came to Sloan, I wanted to do something that was very unique for Sloanies. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. No, seriously, I thought I was really unique. My background was the Peace Corps, and then I was in a nonprofit, and I really thought that I was going to go back, basically, to West Africa, where I'd spent a lot of time, because I always enjoyed being abroad in cross-cultural environments, so I really wanted to get back there. So my plan was to start a peanut butter factory in Ghana. So I was the opposite of Shireen. I was very focused. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And so Core started, and I was just, frankly, I felt like I was on top of the world. I was having a great time. Classes felt easy, you know, had all those like 3-point OP comments. I was really, you know, trying to, or felt like I was crushing it. And I was having a great time, and I also was getting all this great feedback on my pitch, and a lot of enthusiasm, and I really felt like everything was going really well. And then I applied for a few grants so that I could work on my startup over IAP, and I basically got none of them. I didn't get any of the grants that I had applied for to go to Ghana in January, and I was really crushed. And I called, I was crying, I remember, and I called my roommate, Kit, my core teammate at the time, now my roommate, and I called her and I was like, what should I do? You know, I have no money to go there, should I still do this? Does this even make sense? She was like, you know, you gotta go, find out what it's about, see if you wanna do it, investigate it all the way. And so I did. So I went, I got ready to go to Ghana, I started preparing everything, and I was having a lot of doubts and just kind of, my vision started to feel fuzzy, but I was still dedicated to it. So I went to Ghana. And then while I was there, I was just talking to a lot of people. I was talking to entrepreneurs and investors and potential customers. And I just realized that a lot of people knew a lot more about this than I did. And they knew a lot more, and they were in it, and they were doing it already. And I started to feel like I really wasn't sure exactly what my vision was. And so I started to feel confusion and just sort of uncertainty about it. And then, to make matters worse, I got malaria. And so I was basically lying in a bed, like stuff coming out both ends, like just feeling totally like shit. And I'm like splayed out of this bed, miserable, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. And this was like a really scary, intense, but amazing moment for me. In that moment, basically, who I thought I was, my entire identity, the last 5 or 6 years, my dreams, just fell apart. So the first thing, I was like, oh my God, I have to get back to Boston right now. It's like dedicated interview period, oh my God, what am I gonna do? But then I realized sort of, I think the bigger lesson was that it was really a deeply humbling experience about what I didn't know, about everything that I didn't know. And it was humbling to discover my own weaknesses and the places where I really wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be an entrepreneur. Not here, not that project, not now. And I realized that a lot of my classmates and friends were. Some of the people in this room were ready to be entrepreneurs. And so I think this actually is the most important thing that I've gotten at Sloan, which is humility. The ability to let go and recognize my own weaknesses, to recognize where I'm missing things, where I don't know things. And that has been really powerful for me. And the interesting thing that I've learned is that I think this can happen anywhere if you're open to it. And I think it's the exact same phenomenon that I've experienced when I'm abroad. I just didn't realize that I could have the exact same experience here. So I want to give you an example to just show you that parallel a little bit. When I was living in West Africa, I had a lot of these sort of mind-exploding experiences about how people are. And one of them was, I was living in this village in Niger, and I was working with a women's farming cooperative. And I got my hands on some improved variety seeds. And for farmers, that's like gold. That's like really awesome. And so I got these seeds, and I brought them back to my women's group, and I was so excited. And I had this bucket, like a bucket with water, and the seeds were in water in it, so they're already germinated, so they'll go bad if they get out of the water. And so I hold the bucket out, and I'm like, here you go, guys, like, divide it amongst yourselves. And they're like, no, like, you divide it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Just take the bucket, and you guys can figure out how to split it up. They're like, no, we need you to split it up. I'm like, that's ridiculous, you're fully grown women, you can take this bucket of seeds and decide how you're gonna distribute it amongst yourself. And I take the bucket, and I literally am like setting it on the ground, and I'm about 2 feet from the ground, and like, there's a tornado. And the next thing I know, I'm on the ground. I've been knocked over to the ground in the dust. Half the seeds are on the ground, and there's 20 women scraping at the ground and at each other to get these seeds, and they're just all over the place. And I remember I spoke in a different language when I was there, but I just said like, holy fuck, like out loud, because I just couldn't believe it. My whole understanding of humanity and how people behave was turned on its head. And it was another moment where I realized all that I didn't know and didn't understand, and just how big and broad and really incredible the world is. And so I think, to bring it back to Sloan, those are the kinds of experiences that I've had and that all of us, I think, can have at Sloan. So just to give a couple other examples. Industrial econ last fall, in that class we had to do a pricing game. And so every week you had to basically run this pricing game with other people in the class and compete. And we had to build a model for this pricing game. And they gave us this big equation, and I was like, I have no idea what to do with that, but I didn't want to admit it. And so I had picked as my partner Costa, who is a reasonably smart guy, whatever he is. It's like, he probably won't totally blow it, so I guess I'll be an okay partner. And so I was like, we're looking at this thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, totally, yeah, we'll just do this, it'll be cool, whatever. I had no clue what to do. And the next day, we meet up, and Kosub has this just exquisite spreadsheet, with colors, and the numbers change when you punch stuff in, and I was like, oh my God. And it was another moment where I was just totally stunned, and I also had another moment of reckoning for myself when I realized, I will never make a beautiful macro like Kosub. I just can't do it. I can't do it. And that's okay, because I need him. So you're coming with me, right, after this? You're gonna go to McKinsey, just come with me. But I need him, and he needs me, and... Try not emotional here, guys. Right? Did you meet me?
I don't know how many times this is going to be 5 minutes. No, 3 hours.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on that project. But anyway, I think that we're all incomplete. Sloan has this silly framework about praising the incomplete leader, but I think it's really real. I think we are incomplete, and that's part of the beauty of it, is that we need each other and we'll thrive with each other and with that humility. The other experience was this spring, I organized the SIP backpacking workshop. And so I had 12 Sloanies in the woods, and sorry, I keep laughing at the mic. And so the first day we were supposed to be going 10 miles. That's what we were told we were doing. And we get to what's supposed to be the halfway point at 4 p.m. And the last group comes up, and Adam Kucharski, who was in the last yarn, he's like, I have a GPS, and we've gone 12 miles. And I was like, my first thought was there's gonna be a mutiny. And then my second thought was oh, I actually really don't know what to do right now. I can't get the answer. I can't find out how many miles we have gone exactly. I don't know what the best next choice is. And it was really, again, this amazing moment of humility for me, and learning from my peers. So why am I telling you this? I think the best place you can be is where you're uncomfortable. Go to the places that are scary. Go where you feel weak. Go where you feel vulnerable. And go to the edge of your pride and let it be broken. Let your identity fall apart over and over and be built back up again. I think what's important here is this is not a story about failure. It's really about how humility can help you rebuild. And I felt like, for me, learning that I'm not supposed to be an entrepreneur right now, it helped me just see myself a lot better and know my strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like I've come out with so much more of a deep and broad perspective because of it. I think it's kind of like physical training, you know, with a muscle, like you have to break it down so that it can build back up stronger and better. So I guess let your identity be broken down, and if you feel like you don't have all the answers, you're on the right track. And just one last thing. So last week, the second years had some reflection sessions, and one of the questions they asked was, I am more blank since being at MIT Sloan, fill in the blank. And someone on MIT staff made a Wordle, you know, where they jumble up all the most commonly said words, and I thought it was really cool because I looked at it after deciding I was going to talk about it, and you probably can't see it, but the big word in the middle is humble. And I just looked at that and was just really happy and just so grateful to all of you for what you've taught me and how you've helped me be humble and learn about myself and about you. So, thank you.